Hello, everybody. Again, this is my last topic before I correct it. Um, so, this one is a very complicated topic. And I say this if you look at the history, and, and it's all over YouTube, uh, and and it's not so complicated. Uh, I say that the government is making excuses because they know what they've done. And now uh, res- research has been done, and we know the truth, and more truth is coming out every single day. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. And because some of the Congress are their family are are guilty of some of these atrocities. And I feel that's why they won't pass the bill, but sooner or later they're going to have to because uh, I feel that some of the descendants might get a lawyer, several lawyers, and settle it for everybody. So uh, I say, tell the truth, these families, and apologize. And give restitution. Yes, it's a lot. Trillions, not billions. It's a lot. Oh, we add everything together. Property, uh, hours of work, how many years they did this work without pay. It's a lot you have to add in. Not only uh, just the federal government, it's private banks and and institutions that have to make restitutions and apologize. So when you add in all those companies, then the federal government is not the only one in that group. And you need to get together and talk and start the restitution and the apology because it's going to take forever for all of them. Okay. But to all who believed him and accepted him, he gave the right to become children of God. That's John 1:12. Okay. Now, this is complicated and very It's hard. When I do things like this, it is very difficult because it's just very difficult. Okay, let's see here. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And it hurts. The question was this. Uh, the lies and myths of the federal government that told my ancestors and held that over them for over 400 years. Okay. Unmasking the legacy of slavery and the quest for atonement. Your message speaks to a deep and painful truth. The exploitation of slaves through slavery was not just a historical accident. It was purposeful on the part of the Europeans. It was a deliberate system built on greed, control, and racial hierarchy. Let's unpack this with clarity and respect. Slavery in America was a system of chattel slavery where human beings were treated as property. It was race based, hereditary, hereditary, and legally protected. A unique and brutal form of human trafficking, and the federal government protected it. The federal government and state institutions helped codify and enforce slavery through laws, courts, rulings, and economic policies. They still doing it, but in different ways. Where and when? Where? Primarily in the southern United States, but the North also benefited economically. When from 1690, that's more than, shoot, that's more than 400 years. Wow. From 1690, from 1619, when the first enslaved people of color arrived in Virginia through 1865, when the 14th Amendment abolished slavery. Supposedly, yet exploitation continued, yes, through Jim Crow, redefining and mass incarceration. Why? Driven by avarice, the insatiable greed for wealth, land, and power of the Europeans. Enslaved people of color and their descendants were exploited for over 400 years. European colonists, American slaveholders, and institutions profited immensely. Myth and lies. The myth that slavery was benign, that enslaved people were better off, or that it was a necessary evil. Lies, lies, and more lies. Lies that the U.S. was founded on liberty while denying freedom to millions, that the government was neutral when it actively supported slavery through policy. Atonement. Atonement has taken many forms, though often symbolic. Apologies. Countries like the Netherlands and the UK have issued formal apologies. Reparations, rare and controversial. Haiti was forced to pay France for its freedom, while Germany paid reparations to Israel for the Holocaust. Education and memorials. Some nations fund historical research and public remembrance projects. In summary, slavery was a system of calculated exploitation. The federal government and European powers played active roles in sustaining it. The myths that softened its brutality were tools of control from the Europeans. Atonement has been slow, partial, yep, and often resisted. The solution: truth telling, honest education about slavery's legacy, repar- reparative justice, financial reparations, land grants, or institutional investment out of, because you owe the descendants trillions of dollars. Land grants are institutional investments in people of color and their community. Policy reform address systemic racism and housing, healthcare, and criminal justice. Cultural healings, support for mental health, storytelling, and intergenerational resilience. In conclusion, slavery wasn't just a chapter, it was the spine of Western wealth. Atonement must be more than words, it must be actionable, transformative, and ongoing. Yes, I agree. The descendants of the enslaved deserve not just recognition, true, but restoration. Okay, that was hard for me because oh, because for one, Everything they was doing then, they are doing now. Uh, the federal government, with the policies and stuff like that, they are still getting their way. And the institutions, like the banks, are still doing because they are redlining different communities. Okay? I say transparency, and I also say apologies, uh, and recognition for all the work our ancestors did building America and the institutions, and the recognition for the hours that played a part. You know, these institutions, along with the federal government, is innocent. They exploited my ancestors and yours. They need to apologize and start reparations and restore what we should have had in the first place over 400 years. Now they got it, all of it, and they're saying it's theirs. No, it is the descendants. Because what did the Europeans do? Sit on their fat butts and barked out orders. And my ancestors and yours had to do it until they said stop and go to bed or whatever. And that was many, many hours, almost every single day, if not every single day. So, federal government, you need to recognize that slaves built America. All right, and stop trying to hold it up or not recognize it and putting it off. Eventually, you're gonna have to do what so many people are saying. And I'm finding that it's not just the federal government that exploited my ancestors and yours. It's the military, mental health institutions, medical clinics, every institution got something and exploited the ancestors because it was uh, the money, the money recognition, and that's wrong. Okay, That's enough because I'm giving. Okay. This is a question. Getting to know you. If you could solve one global issue, which one would you choose? Of course, what I finished talking about the exploitation of no, the the exploitation of my ancestors and yours. Okay, that's the one I would choose. Ex, ex, exploitation of the ancestors, and what's the solution? Yeah, yep. Of course, that's simple. And Congress up there sitting on their hands, knowing that their ancestors are a part of all the slavery stuff and exploiting our ancestors. Just be transparent and honest and say, yes, we the, uh, we exploited your ancestors for money and property, and we're sorry, and we will start right away restoring what we took from you. That's what needs to be done right away. Yes, we have waited over 400 years. We can't wait anymore. You can't wait anymore because you're already over $1 trillion. Add all the stuff up. You'll see it too. So, thank you for coming and share and like and pass it on. Good night. I gotta edit the stuff. Thank you for coming.